We are happy to announce that this episode of the SWW Show is partially brought to you by Humble Bundle. Well, not really. We are part of the Humble Bundle referral program, and we just wanted to say that if you like really cheap games and maybe helping charity pending the Humble thing going on, all you have to do is go to humblebundle.com/partner equals SWW. That's right, humblebundle.com/partner equals SWW. And you just do your normal stuff, and it just kind of helps us get a couple bucks here and there. Maybe it helps AJ get his lights, maybe it's Mike camera, maybe we actually pay Corey for helping us out. But again, if you're going to go buy games anyway, it might be worth checking out.
Hello everyone, welcome to episode number 66 of the SWW Show.
That sounds wildly high, does that not?
Yes and no.
That's right. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it has. It has been a very long time.
Yes, we're here. It is May of 2024. That's the year. The year of our Lord and Savior 2024. To get us started, apparently we are both back in respective wastelands, but the opposite side of the United States. So to get started, I was going to say we're both playing a Fallout game.
Oh. I was like, what are you talking about?
So to get started, do you mind talking about how is Fallout 76?
I don't know, because I didn't play it when it first came out, so I don't know how far along they've adjusted things. I will say the one thing that I noticed is they capped the frame rate to 60 or 30, I'm assuming. Excuse me, if your system can't reach 60. Which, of course, solves so many of Bethesda's problems. I fired up Fallout 4 and did the character creator, and quickly remembered that you need to run that game with VSync on to 60, because if it goes above 60, the game freaks out.
That's so interesting. I guess this counts probably never going to run into that, because I just never would have thought of that problem.
Yeah. Fallout 76 doesn't have that problem because they lock the frame rate. It does have weird bugs with texture pop in on Ultra, where like I'll be looking and all of a sudden a leaf will pop in right next to me. But yeah, I'm like, I don't know how long in, only a couple hours if that. But one of the things I did appreciate was when you get to exiting the vault, instead of being like, hey, insert your special, how you want to spec. You can do that. You can start at level 1 and do that. Or they have an option to start at level 20.
So they do what they built in the whatever that is for the start later, get to new content type thing.
Yeah. Start at level 20, and here's it's basically a preset for each of the specials. Right, so there's one that's the shotgunner, which is what I chose. There's one that's the sniper rifle, the two-handed weapon next, they have one for each. The thing that I don't like about it for doing that kind of, hey, create a leveled up character, is then just the world level is 20. It's not like they scale. Okay. They scale the world to 20 or 1, whatever you start at, which is fine, whatever, but the problem is the XP doesn't scale. So I've completed one. It's like the first main mission that you get from an NPC. It's decently long. And I completed that. And so you start at level 20. I'm 22. Like just barely over 22.
What's the current level cap there?
I have no idea. I've seen
Okay.
people in the hundreds. So.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, I think I saw one guy in power armor that was like level 126 or something like that. So there's definitely a lot to continue doing. And I understand that like all Bethesda games have this thing where the world kind of levels with you.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as you're putting level numbers on enemies, like you walk out of the vault, and for me, I walked out of the vault, I had a shotgun and I think a pistol. And there's two, like, basically ghouls right in front of me. And it says level 20. I was like, okay, well, so the world, I guess, is level 20. And then I think that has to do with areas that you should be in right throughout the game. Like you should be in this area. Okay, well then in this area you want to be level 20. In this area you want to be level 40. So I'm assuming as you go on you can start to over level certain areas. But yeah, it's...
So the one I never got to, because I think, like, 4 is objectively a better shooter than, as we'll get to with New Vegas. But, like, my problem has always been, like, when I've tried 76, shooting feels weird just because the enemies have to be a little bulkier, and then VATS is a super weird, I think, system in that game, and I don't know if there is a better way to handle it.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is... Also, it's like... Okay, how do we have lock on to PvE and represent that when there's, you know, PvP as well? Like somebody could be watching you lock on or something.
I completely agree. I don't think it's like an easy. It's just more of a like one of those where it's like,
oh, don't worry. All the stuff that I've seen of people like re-releasing articles around 76 or kind of updating articles around 76 is that the shooting is objectively the worst thing. So, but yeah, I triggered VATS accidentally once as I was trying to go through key bindings.
Never again.
No, I just didn't need it at the time, so I just quickly keyed out of it and kept moving.
I called it a day. Oh, nice, yeah. I guess I'll jump in there, as we said. So, in that note, I've been playing a bunch of New Vegas. It's the same New Vegas playthrough. I think we talked about like a year and some change ago that I was playing for a while. It's New Vegas. I'm still decently surprised how it's running on the Steam Deck, with one exception of I was doing the big, like the Old World Blues DLC, and it started to run really, really poorly and started crashing a few times, which I feel like is the first time I've been seeing that as a problem on Steam Deck for New Vegas. So that's kind of been a negative, but otherwise it's still playing really well and it's fast New Vegas. That one I forget. Was that one of the ones you tried and just didn't like, comparatively to like modern ones? I assume because of the level of technical reliability, we'll call it.
I mean, I've never been a fan of Bethesda games just because I get that people like them because they allow you to do crazy stuff. Right? But the game is just breaking constantly. I'm just not going to enjoy it. And then I just stop, and then I just don't go back until I hear you know, if I keep hearing people say, "Oh, it's a typical Bethesda game," I'm not really gonna have any interest in playing it.
Mm-hmm. No, that makes total sense. Perfect.
So,
Yeah. Jumping into them, I was part of the Hades 2 technical test, which I want to shout out. Hades 2 is definitely a lot more Hades. They also change a bunch of the leveling systems, which I think is very interesting. I'll be curious kind of what sticks to the whole release. But I forget, have you played Hades 1 a bunch?
not a bunch. But some.
Yeah, so Hades 2, it plays very much, I would say it plays very much like a more refined one. Obviously, it's a technical release, so there's a little questionableness on some spot, but it played a smooth screen. I played a Steam Deck, didn't drain my battery, and it worked great for hours. So, I'm
Nice.
excited. And they made it sound like it's coming soon. But like, if you're doing a technical test that like decently broadly some like people were on, I'm gonna be curious. Kind of, I'm assuming it'll be like within a few months that it comes out.
Yeah, I'm assuming like probably October.
Yeah, I can see that. But for sure this year, I think we're at this point. You wouldn't have said that. So, yeah. Infinite Wealth, anything new? How's adventuring the islands with your crew?
We're back in Japan at this point.
Ooh!
But
How's that? How is it different than like did the world like evolve, go later?
well, so it's really funny. I on stream I got to Japan, and then like part of the whole thing is a bucket list for Kiryu. And it's just a way to like rename the kind of world stuff that you do. Right, where it's like, oh, do karaoke 5 times. Oh, do batting cages 5 times, do golf, do all the different side stuff. But then they have like a memory book portion of it where you go up, it's a glowing spot on the ground, and it says reminisce when you get there. And it's cool because it's references to the previous 0 through 6 and some of 7. Kiryu's experience over the franchise, and it's definitely feeling as if they're gearing up to kill him off. In the story, but also, I mean, there's a very good chance that they don't because they've been in this position before. So,
I was gonna say at this point, like, when are you expecting the next one of these?
like
What'd
the
you say?
follow up to Infinite Wealth.
Yeah, would you say kind of at this point?
Well, so then
I'm still expecting more.
the next game in the series is another Gaiden game. So it's like Ishin and Man Who Erased His Name, where it's going to be a side story of one of the.
They just alternating them back and forth.
Not really. That was always the plan. So Ishin was a PS3 game that never came out outside of Japan.
Okay.
So they brought that out. The Man Who Erased His Name was the first like true Gaiden like side story since they've been bringing them out in the West. So it's still, the Gaiden games are still going to be like the characters that you know from the Yakuza series, but they may be like Ishin, where it's set in feudal Japan and they've got guns and swords and things like that. And then Mano erased his name as a side story, kind of explaining what's going on with Kiryu between 6 and 7.
I'm assuming, I'm curious when they hit their, like, sales top. Because I feel like that it's still a growing franchise. I don't think it's kind of peaked at it where it can grow.
Yeah, I'm curious with that too. Because what's the nicest way to say this? They keep hindering themselves by waiting a year for the games to come out in the West. Like, what they need to do is just get on top of it and I don't know. Not maybe it doesn't have to be day and date. Japan and the West, but within a month. Right.
Yeah, I think they need to be getting much closer.
Having it be, well...
See, but we see that, but I think Persona's still getting away with being this far apart.
Yeah, but Persona's weird because people bring that in anyway, and they're not... like, those people don't care. They're just weird. Whereas the Yakuza series, since they're all on Game Pass, there is a much more casual audience that is going to be interacting with them. So, versus Persona, they are coming out more and more. But also, Persona 5 was how many years ago? Right. And people were bringing that in. I think that was released. It was about a year between when it came out in Japan and when it came out in the West. I think the reason that Persona can get away with it is they have so many spin-off titles.
Yeah, so it never quite feels like... But there's always that line, though, of, like, it's super bad, because, like, even 5 was still a year apart between the West and here, or the East and here. Like, I'd be curious, kind of...
Yeah, I don't think they really care that much.
Final game I want to talk about is one I didn't expect. I actually downloaded this one... I think we might have talked about it on stream, but I downloaded this one right before my flight. I played this this was my Australia game. Halls of Torment, I wanted to shout out. It's basically, as you probably remember, Vampire Survivors. It is very much another one of those. I think it's done very well. It's currently in early access. It's $4.99. 16th edition of these games being comically cheap. So I'll be kind of curious kind of how this goes. They were talking about this game having a bit lighting up on sales a bit, but they still were working on some more updates. But I think it took the Vampire Survivor formula and RPG'd and rogued it a ton. There's a bunch of like sub challenges you could do, and each of them increases the XP you get in game. There is permanent perks you do. There's equipment. I think it's a good time, but it's very much one of those where if you like this new inverse bullet hell genre, it's for you, but I don't think it's selling anyone of like new of those, but I very much think it's an amazing one of those.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, so it's a good time. $4.99 again. For that, I think it's worth doing the Steam 2-hour check it out. But yeah, let's see some movies we've seen. So Deepwater Horizon, you were watching. It looks like. Well, how was that's the Marky Mark trying to save the day.
Yeah, I mean it's an hour and 40 minutes. It goes by pretty quick. I will say this. The effects that they had for creating the environment of what that would have been like was amazing. It was very well done in that sense, where it looked pretty real. The parts that didn't look real were when they went underwater and they're showing like, oh, the methane's bubbling up through the sand and that's what's going to cause the problems. But you do get a naked Kurt Russell flying across the screen. Unfortunately, you don't see dong. It's just ass.
So is that really count? Like from a film point of view, I don't know if that counts then.
Well, I think if you show dong, it's an immediate at least R. And I'm pretty sure this movie's PG-13. But yeah, if you show dong, it's kind of a no-no.
Damn. Yeah. Cool.
You can get a lot. You can get away with a lot more dong on TV stuff.
That is pretty like it's probably the only one where it's like that, right? Where that's better being like it's lighter on TV.
I think the reason it's lighter on TV is because it's usually on stuff like HBO, where they can get away with whatever they want.
That's fair. So at that point, it's basically films with no ratings boards.
Yeah.
So that's fair. Yeah. I watched There Will Be Blood on the flight over. I think we talked about this weeks ago. Grand old time, as you can imagine. I wouldn't go check out that if you haven't. The other one, though, we watched in 4DX in Australia. Godzilla, is it Cross Kong? Whatever the one that just came out is.
I think it's Godzilla and Kong.
Godzilla and Kong, the New Empire.
Because it does read as Godzilla Cross Kong, but I believe the way that they are phrasing it is Godzilla and Kong.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like a fun movie. My problem is it's a film you cannot think about too much while checking out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is I think a fun film. 4DX, it makes a goddamn roller coaster.
Yeah.
Also, the other thing I want to shout is in Australia, their concession stands are comically cheap. For 5 of us, I paid a total of like 55 USD for concessions. I was like,
how many dollar dues was that? Was that like 15,000 kangaroo dollars?
No, I think it was like 80 kangaroo dollars. Let me look what it is right now. It's because
how many didgeridoos did you have to pay to get your popcorn?
76.
That's a lot of didgeridoos.
That's true. It's 66 cents. So 1 Australian dollar is 66 cents. So.
And how many wallabies had to finger you to get that stuff?
We'll just jump into it. Yes, I'll do this in Australia Adventures. Okay, what questions do you have for me about the Great Down Under? You must have had some real questions of the Down Under time before you get into news.
Not really, because one of my old neighbors used to frequent Australia a lot, so I talked to him about it a lot.
It's so the flight isn't as bad as I thought it'd be, but it's still a comically long flight. Like,
yeah, I mean it's
insane. It is not up there actually on the longest flights in the world.
No, I was going to say it's the largest area without land, like going from the US to Australia, short of maybe Peru or Chile to Australia. But you can kind of use the shape of the globe to help you there. Yeah, the Pacific is just massive.
Yeah, because most of that flight, you're just over the Pacific the whole time.
Yeah.
So we flowed Boeings both ways, and we made it obviously, so that's good.
87s, 777s,
87s.
both ways.
Yeah, 777s. I don't think can go to. I think it's too far.
No, the 777X can definitely make it.
Okay. Yeah, no, it was 87. So it was the 87 Dreamliner. We were down in peasant seating. The way back, I was the second to last row of the plane.
Did you have anyone behind you?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
But it wasn't bad. That one, on the way back, I slept like 11 hours.
Yeah.
So that was a good time. We saw, the thing I didn't know we'd see is penguins. We saw koalas. We saw kangaroos. Yeah. Oh, the other night, this hour and this part too, we ate jerky from Australia. I think I told you we have emu, kangaroo, and gator jerky. I just gotta shout it out. Emu is the most disgusting thing I have ever tasted in my life when it comes to its aftertaste.
Yeah.
You cannot get rid of it. It like stays there and lingers. So kangaroo is perfectly fine. Gator, I think, is a little sweet. It depends on the person. But I would suggest to no human being to ever eat emu.
No,
So.
emu is. I've had emu steaks before, and
I think just as bad.
you have to prepare them in a very particular way to not be horrendous. But
yeah, that was Australia. Honestly, great time. The flight is expensive for Americans. Once you're there, it's relatively cheap just because of the exchange rates currently. So,
dude, that's the thing. Like, people in the States forget. They think, oh, once I get there, it's expensive. No, only Europe is expensive. Right? Like, if you go anywhere else in the world, it's cheap. It's just getting there. So.
Yeah.
And even not just exchange rate. Like, if you go to Southeast Asia, shit is just cheap. Not even exchange rate cheap.
Oh, that's different. Yeah, that one is. So I'm pretty sure we're going to end up going to Vietnam at some point in the next year or so, and that's going to be one where it's going to be like, once we're there, it's...
Yeah, you can have the time of your life on $10 over a week and a half. And live like a king. But, yeah. I do want to go to Vietnam. There's a very specific resort town in central Vietnam.
God, I think we were just talking about it. It was something with like a B.
I think so, yeah. And it just looks amazing. I really want to do the Top Gear trip where they go from the south to the north on motorcycles.
Mm-hmm.
Because that country is beautiful. The problem is, being an American, it's very expensive to get into. Because the visa is ridiculously expensive. So,
is it? Why? What do you mean the visa is expensive?
It's
that bad?
I forget what it is, but it's like $5 if you're Canadian.
Oh yeah, okay.
Like, they specifically charge Americans
extra.
Extra. I wonder why.
Because we can afford it.
Or, yeah, maybe it's because they hate Americans.
It's fine. But yeah, jumping into the film news we got. It's an interesting month. We'll jump through a few of these. I think we have two big ones. Let's jump in. First, I just want to shout out, the next Kevin Smith movie has been picked up by Saban Films. The 4:30 movie is about a bunch of teenagers who work in a movie theater, which at least sounds like a fun like teenage film that I feel like we don't get enough of anymore. So I'll be kind of curious how that is. Also, Saban Films existing a lot more than I thought they would.
Yeah, I'm fine with the idea of this, but good Lord, can we please get away from the self-indulgent, hey, we're making a movie about working at a movie theater because we're hip like that. And it's like, dude, come on. Just come on.
Yeah. Two new movies got announced that I think is just wild. First being the Turtles movie. There's a new one coming out called The Last Ronin, which is a comic that kind of took the world by storm. And there's also the rumors of a game also being made with this. So I'm a little hesitant if this is going to actually come out or not, but I think it'd be very interesting if it does because it's a very gritty comic. And the other movie that got announced, which I can't believe is real, is the Transformers and G.I. Joe crossover movie was officially announced at Cinecon. Who asked for this? Did you ask for this? Did you ask for this without us realizing you asked for this?
Nope.
It's painful. Yeah. And then the other news stories we have, and these I think were the actual big ones that we'll spend time on. First is Quentin Tarantino, the movie critic. It's not happening. Tarantino has announced that he has stopped work on the movie critic, and because basically it really sounds like he doesn't have a good, didn't have a solid idea for what he wanted this film to be, based obviously of it changing in and out of his universe and stuff like that. So my initial question for you is, I'm assuming you kind of skimmed over kind of what happened. What's your reaction, and then do you have any thoughts kind of where you think he'll end up? Like, do you think this is the case of he'll come back to this, or do something else?
Well, I'll start with, do I think this is his last project? Like, will he come back to this and this be his final project? He'll come back to it in some way. Whether that's a full-on movie or he spins this off into a short series, a mini series on HBO or Stars or something, Netflix. I don't think it's abandoned. I just don't know where he goes.
I don't either. I'm very unsure kind of where he would end this at. Like a part of me goes, it would make sense kind of just sitting on it. Another one goes, what else could he kind of jump to after it? Because in the last few years especially, like, they were so different between each of his projects.
Yeah.
So that's the part where I get super interested. So, but the final piece, would you like to say the final one and kind of, since I assume we all assumed this would be happening?
Dune Messiah is going to be a movie.
Like, we all assumed, right?
I mean, it was the worst kept. It was the one thing that if I had to have a major markdown on Dune 2 was, they're clearly setting up a third.
So you say that, but I think it was better than the first one, at least kind of being a complete thing.
Well, the problem with the first one is it was made to be a part 1, part 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so that the first one I could kind of forgive. Because it's like, you knew from the start it was going to be a 2-part.
Well, they at least try for it to be.
Yeah, a 2-part thing. And then for the second one to end the way it does,
like, you're like, okay, where's the big battle moment? Yeah.
I was like, okay.
It's interesting. There's a world to the second one where I would have ended that film 10 minutes sooner. Like, before the big of here's our next thing goes, I would have just been like, we won, and just called it in a lot of ways. But obviously for sequel bait, you don't do that anymore.
Yeah. Well, and also, it's the problem of adapting a book that the author knew was going to be part of a series.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't have the first book doesn't have a good, clean ending. It's setting up for another.
At that point, he understood how to get paid.
He didn't understand how to get paid yet.
But yeah, jumping into stuff then, trailers. We have both Deadpool and Joker. Did any of those stand out to you?
I think I'm over Deadpool.
Really? How come? See, I actually thought the trailer was pretty good. That's, to me, I thought was the cleaner to read trailer, but it was definitely just a return to form.
I think I'm just over the look at us, we're so edgy aspect of Deadpool. Like,
yeah, no, those jokes I do think didn't hit as well this time.
I'm just like, dude, I don't want to see you Doctor Strange your way around the Marvel universe.
Is that too much?
That does not sound like fun.
What about Joker? Did anything with? Because to me, Joker was an interesting one. I don't think it's selling new people in that film though.
Joker, I'm excited for, if only to see, because they posted the photo of Lady Gaga in like a leather unitard as one of the PR images. Like, I'm curious to see if Harley Quinn ever wears that. I'm assuming she does, but
but I could see why they don't, because that was the whole Joker was never Joker.
Yeah,
in a lot of ways. Yeah. No, I was thinking that too, because I saw a joke rumor online of what if this all dream types? It is very much a. I will be curious how much of it do they play into the full characters ever, or do they still kind of stay this kind of parallel character?
Well, I think the fact that they're a quote unquote realistic character, right? It's not like Heath Ledger's Joker that clearly there was some supernatural shit going on with him. The fact that it's just a normal dude, like I said, quote unquote normal dude, and he's not doing anything too crazy. I think for them to play up, oh, it's just a dream, or for people to suggest, I can see why people would suggest that, but that's also to suggest that in that case, the penal system actually works. And it's very clear that he can escape from jail on multiple occasions from the first one. So, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, we will see both those come out this year, and I feel like both those might fight for their respective months. But jumping into stuff, this is the biggest VR news that I think we've seen in a long time. Meta is opening up their basically headset up, so it's called the Meta Horizon OS, and it basically is a bunch of headsets having come to a kind of third-party headsets, including this is the bigger ones, is including Asus and Lenovo, and there's some to work with Xbox going on too, but we don't fully understand the full limitation of that one because it only sounds pretty limited. This to me is interesting, but it also is obviously reminiscent of what when Valve did the Steambox. Is that it?
Xbox is we're working together to create a limited edition Meta Quest inspired by Xbox. A limited edition Meta Quest inspired by Xbox. Is that just a black Meta Quest?
I'm not sure if it was that or if there is some it's them and there's just Xbox flavor on it. That's what I'm very curious with that. Because they have been working together on some stuff.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Also, there have been those rumors, or I didn't write them down, of Microsoft's standalone device. So I'd be curious, are they working together just...
There's been rumors of that Xbox standalone device for... When did the first PSVR come out? 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
16, 17?
There's been rumors
like
since a year before that. So Asus will finally get a headset out. That's been long rumored. Lenovo, it looks like maybe it's just going to be accessories.
I'll be curious.
So
if we
yeah,
start
I mean,
getting-
it looks like it looks like Asus is the only one really making a new headset that is built with Horizon. Everyone else is making either accessories or experiences. So
No, that's. I'll be curious if there's going to be any compatibility issues of like, do we start getting such a big processor windows where now we just have a comical amount in the meta store of like, it's compatible in this headset, but not this one?
well, I mean, they even say like, they'll benefit from Meta's long-term partnership with Snapdragon that are tightly integrated with our software and hardware stacks.
So I'm assuming everything will have a Qualcomm chip in it.
Yeah. It'll have a
There
Snapdragon.
might be like have
whatever.
requirements. Yeah, they might have some requirements on the back end of. Is this Snapdragon Qualcomm?
Yeah.
So, the next one, which is the other giant shift, is because of some pressures internationally and around the world. Apple, though, worldwide has announced they're opening the App Store to retro game emulators. So to clarify, they're not opening up to ROMs. You still have to do whatever sideways. You have to get ROMs on your phone. But emulators themselves will show up and has been showing up inside of the App Store. Have you messed with this at all? Do you plan to mess with this?
Well, as somebody outside of the Apple's walled garden, I have been messing with emulators for a very long time.
I just never had a big honest interest of it.
Neither did I,
Android
but
part.
people would be like, "Hey, you can do this now, or you can do that." I think people will stumble on the fact that a lot of these emulators work for 15, 20 games because that's the games people want to play.
It
And
is
then-
shocking when you look at. I've looked at the numbers for of like percent games get emulated, and it's very much a like 5 or 6 games are like 90% of emulation.
Well, just look up, what is it, RSPC3 or PCS3, which is the biggest PlayStation 3 emulator. If we look at compatibility, 69.17% of PS3 games are playable and no game-breaking glitches. 28.42% are games that either can't be finished, have serious glitches, or have insufficient performance. So, and then there's 2.4% that display image but don't make it past the menus. So, there's 3,700 PS3 games. 2,500 of them are playable. Now, granted, it's going to be the ones you care about. Right? Like, in-game ones are going to be things like Alien Isolation. Which, why would you play that on a PS3? Air Conflicts Vietnam, which was a move game. Ape Escape with the move. Some of the Armored Cores have issues. Things like that. Like, you know, some sports games have issues. Like,
Real question: who emulates, like, besides like 1 or 2 specific sports games that everyone talks about? Who emulates like 2015 Madden. Like I feel like there's a limit of that stuff, right?
Well, let's see. Let's look at the Madden games. 07, 08, 09, 12, and 16 are all in-game. So 10, the 10 demo, 11, the 11 demo, the 12 demo, 12 Hall of Fame edition, 13, 13's demo, 15, 17, and 25 are all playable. So, and I know, like, the big ones are the NCAA football games, right? Like, those are the ones people really care about. And don't think any of them are full playable. Basketball and football up until 13. So if you're cool with playing a year off of the game everybody wants to play, you can it's playable, no issues. 14 is in-game with serious issues.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
But now on the phone, I mean, obviously that's going to be like Game Boy emulation. And Game Boy emulation is as good as it's ever going to get.
But that one, like Game Boy emulation, for most games, I feel like we're there.
There's going to be a few, right? But
those are the ones who probably use the Game Boy server. It's like how we can emulate 99% of NES or SNES games correctly. It's just there's a few that have very specific things that we just have trouble with.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. Jumping out of that talk, though, this is where the only good news of the month happens, and then it gets bad. Embracer has divested from Gearbox Entertainment for, let's be honest, what is the least shocking purchasing party of all time is that Take-Two, they would be another branch under the Take-Two umbrella. So there's a kind of a few notes. So Gearbox, the way we know them, including Borderlands franchise, the big franchises like Homeworld, Brothers in Arms, Duke Nukem all stay with them. Their publishing arm is staying over there, including Lost Boys Interactive and a few other of the studios that were under Gearbox that were not named Gearbox will be staying with Embracer. What's kind of your take? Because to me, this feels like if you said Gearbox wasn't independent again, I feel like this is the home that we'd all point to on a map. Like this doesn't seem like the most shocking of purchases to me.
No, but also I'm just looking over everything they're divesting. It was weird, right? Like Gearbox, the Homeworld franchise was THQ. And then Borderlands was 2K. Like Gearbox has always been kind of a studio for hire, in a sense, where they're not beholden to one publisher.
Yeah, Borderlands is really a game Borderlands 2 especially is a game that changed that for them.
Yeah.
I feel like. Obviously. You could look at the track record and be like, yeah, that's the game that fundamentally, because besides the Aliens game, they think that's the last of, like, they didn't do anything else for not 2K.
Yeah, so I mean, highlighting, as well as Homeworld, Risk of Rain, Brothers in Arms, and Duke Nukem, which, 1, 2, 3. It's 4 franchises. I think 3 of them haven't produced a game in at least 6 years. And Brothers in Arms hasn't released a game in over 10.
And my understanding is Brothers in Arms, at one point, they had a game in development and they canceled, is my understanding, during when they were working at Post 2 and Pre-3 for Borderlands.
There is a new Homeworld that is supposedly coming out.
You know when?
Let's see. Let's see. There was a remaster. The last Homeworld thing was 2022. Homeworld 3 is slated for a 2024 release. We'll see if that happens. So.
Okay, now here's where so this news was so wild that I emailed you about it from Australia. So the game studio Possibility Space is closed, and to the point where it's closed, everyone's gone, which is the second studio by the same owners happened. So kind of backstory here is Possibility Space was owned by Jeff Strain, who is known for founding both ArenaNet and Undead Labs. So basically, the partner who we now own is Microsoft. Canceled an upcoming game of theirs, which he blames on basically that employees were leaking stuff to the press, and he claims that it shut down the basically ended the game, and they had to shut down the studio in response. And now he's just out of the industry. I think across the board, everyone looked at the story as super weird, and I tend to agree. I have never heard of a case, and I'm curious on your thoughts, that a publisher in the game industry canceled because there was a leak. And that's very interesting. And then closing down the entire studio because of it. Do you think there was a more in the background going on here, or just one of those he went, fuck it, I'm just not dealing with this stuff, and I'm so rich I don't care?
I think all right. Do I want to be do I want to truly expose for being him as much of a dick as I think he is?
No, say it. You've already started.
Yeah. I think he wanted an excuse to get out.
Yeah, okay, so I don't know if I disagree with you on this that much.
So, to him, he was like, how do I get out of here? How do I get out of here?
Here's the thing that probably could be annoying him, which legitimately probably could have been, and he probably just, there probably is a validity of the argument of, fuck it, I have so much money, why do I really care? This is annoying me, I'm done.
Yeah. He's like, okay, and I now have an excuse.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he didn't need a great excuse. He just needed an excuse.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Also, it has to be the shittiest way to let people off.
Yeah.
Because, if anything, if you want to play a witch hunt internally to fire the guy who did what people did is one thing versus closing your studio.
Well, and I'm really curious to see,
I'm curious when this thing leaks what they're working on.
Well, I was gonna say the thing that I'm curious about is what part of a Kotaku story that hasn't even been published is salacious enough to have to close a studio.
Because let's be honest, if it's just Microsoft works with Possibility Space, 2/3 people can go who and move on. It's not gonna be one of those by itself. That's gonna be a alternate thing. So what else is in that story? Is it crunch? Is it other reasonable working conditions? Is it something with their partnership? What is it that would do that?
Yeah.
So we will see. I'm assuming we will probably hear no more sooner or later. So why not? Let's before we jump into the layoffs of the month. BlizzCon's officially canceled this year, which, let's be honest, has to do with money at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So We'll see. This is a month of who's doing layoffs? To start with, Take-Two announced a 5% layoff and cancellation of some projects. So, pre-GTA 6 coming out, which is not probably good news, Ubisoft's laying off 45 employees, which the Ubisoft numbers, not saying it's great for those employees. It's not horrendous.
Well, I love it. I love that it's to address market evolution. We're going to lay off 45 employees. Ubisoft employs what, probably 20,000 people.
Like, do you know what I would do if, like, for a 45 number like Ubisoft? Just don't backfill positions. Like, you're losing 45 people a day.
That's what I'm curious about, right? Like, is this 45 like doubled up social media managers or like social teams? They're like, okay, that would make sense because you don't need them anymore because COVID's not a thing anymore, or not as big of a thing. Or is this 45 people that were part of their NFT project?
Yeah, I'm very curious where these, because they even made a comment about how it's not affecting devs. Like, that was such a weird comment. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Don't worry, it's not affecting development, but we're laying off 45 people.
Here's actually the biggest one kind of wrapped in one. Sega announced they sold off Relic, so Relic's from Independent. Sega, on top, that's cutting 240 employees, and then Relic, because of the independence and money and stuff tied to it, had to cut 41 employees.
Well, Sega's job cuts are specifically in the UK.
Right. My guess is probably a lot of it was supporting Relic in their efforts since it was a Europe-based studio.
Creative Assembly, Hardlight, and Sega Europe are impacted.
Yep. I was going to say the other thing, too, is Relic is the first layoff where I go, this seems justifiable in the sense of it might be safer for you to like kind of be independent and do those layoffs than kind of be with them. So in a weird way, that might have saved more jobs, but we'll see. Then lastly, for the first time ever, Certain Affinity announced layoffs. 25, which I'm assuming probably a few hundred at this point. So it is fair to say it's rough all around. And we are not... It's hopefully getting better, but we'll see.
Well, okay, so here's the kind of, I don't know, proper way to put this. Kind of the bitch about it, right? Like, the world markets are preparing for a recession that needs to happen.
Also, I'm just going to say that I was thinking, I know it's in Japan, I feel sorry for them looking at the speak of world markets.
Yeah.
Because, like, their currency has collapsed on the international market.
Yep. And because of that, like, it's incredibly expensive to get loans right now. Because banks are holding on to money at a rate that, they're expecting something. The problem is everyone's expecting it. So
it's gonna cost something.
We're basically building a house of cards on a creme brulee and we just keep stacking cards on top to see how strong the sugar really is. Everyone knows it's going to crack and fall through. It's just I think nobody wants to be on the top when that happens.
And that's probably fair.
So they don't want to get the blame for, banks don't want to be the ones to blame like they were in 08. Right? They already had to walk away with their tail talks. So they're looking at, because when it comes down to it, these VC firms need to get the money from somewhere, right? So if the VC firms can't borrow at 0.9% the way that they were during COVID, they can't afford it, right? Like, these VC firms, yes, they are billion-plus-dollar companies. There's a reason they're billion-dollar companies. They're not making stupid money moves. So to avoid stupid money moves, they're not borrowing the same way that they were. And as a result, a lot of people are losing their jobs. People are losing their jobs because banks don't want to lend out money. Banks don't want to lend out money because people are losing their jobs.
At some point, hopefully the cycle recovers, but yeah.
I mean, the housing bubble has needed to collapse, needed a pop since pre-COVID. I mean, COVID
Sure,
just
and
fucked
you actually are starting to see it, at least in some markets, do stuff.
It is starting to slow down, but the prices are still insane, is the problem. I saw a thing where it was like the average house price in America is like $420-something thousand.
And like, it's hard to tell because like for us, we're gonna have lower numbers than the average, for example.
Yeah.
Like when me and you are respectively, will be cheaper than the average.
Yeah. And to afford that house, or to be approved to afford that house, household income needs to be $120,000. Take a guess at what America's national average is.
I want to call it like in the 80s.
It is $87,000. People cannot afford to buy houses. Therefore, people are going to be in money troubles constantly. Something needs to happen. And I think we're feeling that in the game world right now, where that something is happening.
Yeah.
And it sucks because it means they have to lay people off, but also companies aren't stupid. They see the writing on the wall, and they don't want to be in a position of weakness. So they're trying to avoid that because they see, hey, in 6 months, shit is going to go sideways. But that shit has not gone sideways as of yet.
No, it has not. But yeah, let's jump in then. Finally, we have more games on the list. Games coming out very soon. God, it's May already. Prison Break 2 come out on May 7th. Hellblade 2 comes out May 21st. The counterparts of System Shock Remake come out on the 21st of May. F1 24 comes out on May 31st. Destiny 2, The Final Shape, June 4th. Elden Ring, Shadow of the Entry, 21st of June. Frostpunk 2, Erdtree. Frostpunk 2 comes out July 25th. Just freshly announced SteamWorld Heist 2. SteamWorld Heist, one of my favorite games last decade, comes out August 8th. And then Star Wars Outlaws comes out August 30th. Lastly, Movie Club. We have 4 films. I think there's an obvious pick, but I just had to write these 4 down. The Fall Guy, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, Back to Black.
Talk about the most convoluted naming structure. Good lord. The Planet of the Apes series is like the dumbest thing in the world.
Just number them, please. Or like year them at this point. Just go Planet of the Apes 2024. I'm more okay with that.
Yeah. Yeah. I have no
comment.
No retort other than it's just figure something out.
It's just bad. I'm assuming it's Furiosa.
I would say if not that, Planet of the Apes.
Okay, so I like the three Planet Apes before this one. I don't know. This to me feels like we going circling it back around feels too much for me.
Yeah, it does feel a little odd.
Like it's Planet of the Apes, but the monkey's point of view is what this is.
Yeah.
Is what it looks like to me.
And I think that's probably a very good assumption.
So, I would vote Furiosa unless you really want to do this.
Yeah, I was just thinking because it's at the end of the month. If we want to do something during the middle, that's.
I think this is one worth waiting. I think
Kingdom is the only option.
What is George Miller is 79. How many more Mad Maxes does George Miller have in him?
Probably 3 or 4.
Like, I'm assuming that's just his thing now, right? He's just going to, or do you think he's going to do his, like, weird stuff like how he did the 3,000 Years of Longing?
They've probably got him on a strictly Mad Max diet at this point.
Diet. But sounds good. I think that does it.
I mean, he's got Mad Max: The Wasteland, which is coming out. That's the next Mad Max movie. So, as you know, as he gets older, right? Like that's the problem. Is this dude's gonna be? Is he gonna be 80 when?
And right now,
when I was like, why can't I think of the thing? It's when Furiosa. He just turned 79, so he'll be 80 when or at least 80 when Mad Max: The Wasteland comes out. So we'll see.
Okay. Yeah, that would do it for us. Anything else you want to say before we chip off?
Not really.
Well,
nope.
We'll see everyone next time. The SWW Show and all of its affiliate podcasts are podcast by me, Mike Maroney, and AJ Losi, sometimes by our contributors, including Corey King. You can follow the SWW Show on social media at the SWW Show, or sooner or later you go to patreon.com/SWW to help us out. Thank you. We hope you enjoy the rest of your day.